Hi, this is Lisa DeMonte with mylegal.com. It's April the 1st, and we just finished the conference at the Ronald Reagan Building from BizNow, Where Do Women Stand? And I'm delighted to have as my guest this morning, Anastasia Kelly. Anastasia is the former Vice Chairman, Legal Human Resources, Corporate Communications, and Corporate Affairs at AIG, and also served as the General Counsel for many large corporations in the past, including Sears and WorldCom. Anastasia, you were just part of this panel, Where Do Women Stand? And you're about to, or just have joined, DLA Piper. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing at DLA and the role that women have, as you see it, in law firms.
Great, I'll be happy to. So I have actually also been a partner in a big law firm before now, WilmerHale. It was Wilmer, Cutler & Pickering at that time. So I think I've had the perspective of being in-house and outside counsel as well. And I think this is a great time for women. If you saw and we're at the conference today, the energy, the passion that you heard from people and the questions that people asked. People came up to me afterwards, and I would say that some of the comments, they were all consistently themed. It's great to hear that women are doing great. They've got a sense of humor that comes across that you don't often get in the guys. And so I think it's a great time for women. I think the practice of law is a place where women are naturally good. I mean, women are good at networking, they're good at consensus building, they're good at building teams, they're good at all the things that require the problem-solving, analytical skills that lawyers need to have. So we had a great mix today of lawyers and business people, but basically the themes were the same, whether they were the lawyers or women in entrepreneurial businesses. This is a great time, I think, for women. I think enough of us have gotten to a point where mentoring younger women and sharing and giving back to their professions and communities is going to make a real difference going forward.
Anastasia, you've had, as you indicated, the experience of both being at the big law firms as well as serving as GC, totally different roles. Do you see any differences in how women are progressing and moving forward, either at the law firms or at the corporations? Do you see any differences?
Great question. And my law firm experience is a bit dated now because I've been a general counsel for 15 years. But I would tell you that I think that law firms now are beginning to value the kind of skill sets that women have always brought to the workplace, which law firms, when I was a partner, didn't value as much. And when I say that, I mean sort of the ability to reach a consensus, the team building, the caring about what happens to other people, the management. People used to call it soft skills. Now they call it emotional intelligence. It's not a soft skill. It's a real skill, and it's really extremely important in being able not just to recognize what the issues are, but to get something to a resolution. It's not enough to figure out what the problem is. You got to get a resolution, whether you're in negotiating position or you're in litigation. Women have a natural skill set, and so I see that being more valued in corporations traditionally, historically. It wasn't as much valued in private law firms and even in the big firms. Now you see much more of it, and I will say that one of the reasons I decided to join DLA is because I think they get it in a way that a lot of firms don't, and they don't just get it, but they nurture it, and that's a very important distinction.
You know, it's quite interesting comment because we just finished coverage of the 3-day Georgetown University Law Center conference on law firm evolution. And we had academics from all over the world speaking on the future of big law, the future of law firms. And it seems that the folks in the East, overseas, Europe, Asia, and such, are really a little bit ahead of the U.S., I think, in many respects. And the talk at the conference was value, and you just mentioned value. And I think women bring a lot of value to the table. So are you seeing that as perhaps a way for the U.S. law firms to reevaluate their view of women and perhaps bring women into a more collaborative role with their male counterparts so that they can each learn from each other and different skill sets?
I do, and I think that the more movement there is with women going from in-house to back to the firm and back and forth, I mean, that'll be a natural next step, I think, in the evolution, where people like me will bring what they learned from the corporate setting into the law firm setting. And you get more credibility when you've done it a couple of times. So the law firm hopefully will listen to you a little more than they would have 15 years ago when you were just another partner. So yeah, I think that's a great next step in the evolution for U.S. law firms to rethink not only how they operate and structure themselves, but also, I won't go into, because I could do this for 2 hours, on the billable hour arrangement and all that paradigm I think is about to shift given the economy and efficiency and technology, and I think that's all a good thing.
That was definitely a resounding theme at the conference, the end of the billable hour. I know you're just recently joining DLA. Is that something that DLA is working with now, dealing with now, making changes? Obviously, they're an international law firm, so I would imagine that that shift again is coming from east to west.
Well, absolutely, and two things. One is a former partner at DLA who was a beloved partner, Jeff Liss, who passed away from cancer several years ago, and I both co-chaired the ABA's Commission on Alternative Billing Arrangements back in the early 2000s. And nothing has changed because everyone recognizes it's an inefficient system, everybody hates it, but it's the only thing that people understood the rules enough to work. I think we've come a long way from there, and again, DLA Piper understanding alternative billing arrangements and helping the in-house counsel figure out how to do that. It has to be a cooperative venture. It has to be a win-win or it's not going to work long-term. And you want the law firm to make money, and you want to be able to look your CFO in the eye and say, I didn't overspend on this particular piece of legal work. So I think there's a lot of energy behind it now. I think there's a lot of progress, but we get a long way to go.
So true. I think someone mentioned at the conference, we've been talking about alternative billing for years.
Decades.
When are we going to have this baby? When is it going to change? When is it going to happen? So I do think that you're right. The ACC has their value challenge, and we were lucky enough to have Susan Hackett as one of our interviewees. Tell us about your understanding of the value challenge and perhaps how law firms can use that to be more effective in providing value to their clients.
I think that it says it all right there, the value challenge. You got to figure out what the first question is always, what does the client need? What kind of value can I bring to the client? And then the law firm needs to figure out how to make its value proposition revolve around that, because they're in business. And the biggest paradigm shift here is that law firms have to understand that what they do is business. It is no longer just the private practice of law where you can go off and do your thing and clients are going to come after you. This is a business. It is very competitive. There are wonderful lawyers in all sorts of different law firms, so you have to differentiate yourself. And the differentiating factor is, what kind of unique value can I bring to this client? And I think one of the reasons why DLA made sense to me is that they are helping figure out how they can use my particular background and experience to bring value to the clients of the firm. And it's not like, how can we make Stasia better, or it's how do we make Stasia more valuable to our clients so that we can bring value to the firm. So that mindset is, I think, the most important.
Awesome. It sounds like you were literally there at the conference, because you get it in the way that all of the people who were attending the conference obviously get it. So Stasia, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. All the best to you with your new position at DLA, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Thanks.